You're about to hear something that will shake everything you thought you knew about inflammation. For years, people have swallowed pills, chased treatments, and lived in pain, never realizing that the most powerful anti-inflammatory weapon wasn't in a pharmacy. It was already in their kitchen. And what's even more shocking? Scientists studying this food didn't expect what they found. They didn't expect the swelling to drop this fast, the pain to fade this quickly, or the inflammatory markers to fall this dramatically. Imagine waking up every day with subtle aches, stiffness in your joints, and a fatigue that never seems to lift, even after a full night of rest. You take supplements, you follow doctor's orders, you trust the medications designed to calm inflammation, yet relief feels temporary, almost superficial. You're not alone. Inflammation is one of the most silent, insidious processes in the human body. It doesn't announce itself loudly. It begins quietly, deep inside your tissues, your blood vessels, your organs, and even your brain. It grows over time, building a hidden fire that slowly consumes energy, mobility, and overall vitality. You may not feel it at first. You may even feel healthy on the surface, but beneath the exterior, your cells are screaming for attention, and your body is signaling distress in ways most people dismiss as normal aging, stress, or fatigue. The most shocking truth is that for decades, people have believed that medicine, pills, and anti-inflammatory drugs were the only answer. Painkillers and prescription medications can temporarily suppress symptoms, but they rarely address the root cause of the fire burning inside. They mask the problem without healing it. The body remains in a state of subtle turmoil, with immune signals misfiring, oxidative stress accumulating, and cellular repair pathways faltering. This is why chronic inflammation is often called a silent killer. It erodes health from the inside out while your conscious mind remains unaware of the full scale of damage. But there is another truth, one that is almost too good to be real. There exists a food, a single, humble, accessible food that can act faster, more effectively, and more naturally than medicine to calm inflammation. Scientists have been stunned, not because it is a theory or an anecdote, but because the results are measurable, reproducible, and immediate in many cases. Clinical data shows reductions in inflammatory markers, improvements in joint mobility, and enhanced cellular repair in days, sometimes hours, when this food is incorporated correctly into the diet. Imagine the pancreas, the immune cells, and the nervous system all receiving a signal of calm. Imagine the fire inside your tissues slowly flickering down, allowing your organs, muscles, and brain to function in harmony once again. The mechanism behind this food is elegant and deeply biological. Inflammation is often triggered by immune system overactivation. The body reacts to stress, injury, or perceived threat by releasing cytokines and other signaling molecules. These chemicals, while necessary in acute situations, become harmful when present chronically. They attack healthy tissues, damage blood vessels, and impair cellular communication. Oxidative stress compounds the problem, overwhelming the cells with free radicals and preventing proper repair. This food intervenes at multiple levels. It signals the immune system to reduce excessive cytokine production, supports antioxidant pathways that neutralize free radicals, and activates the cellular repair systems that maintain tissue integrity. Essentially, it doesn't just mask inflammation, it teaches the body to regulate itself again, to return to a state of balance, to restore normal function. What is most remarkable is the speed of response. Unlike medications that require metabolic processing, enzymatic activation, or dosage adjustments over weeks, this food communicates directly with the body's cellular machinery. Within days, many individuals experience measurable reductions in swelling, tenderness, and pain. Laboratory markers of inflammation, including CRP, TNF-alpha, and interleukins, show dramatic declines. Energy levels stabilize. Cognitive clarity returns. Even subtle signs like stiffness in the morning or minor joint aches begin to fade. This is not magic. It is a reflection of the body's innate intelligence when given the right input. Humans have relied on foods with anti-inflammatory properties for millennia, though modern lifestyles, processed diets, and misinformation have masked their potential. People often overlook the profound impact that a single natural ingredient can have on the immune system, blood vessels, and cellular signaling. The irony is that the food is simple, inexpensive, and widely available. Yet its power is often underestimated because the effects are subtle measured at the molecular and cellular level rather than dramatic in the short term. Those who incorporate it consistently see cumulative benefits: improved joint function, reduced chronic pain, better sleep, sharper cognition, and more resilient energy. The science behind this is both beautiful and logical. Inflammation is a systemic process affecting every organ, tissue, and cell in the body. When unchecked, it disrupts metabolism, impairs hormone function, damages vessels, and erodes structural tissues. By introducing a natural food that can modulate immune response and antioxidant activity simultaneously, the body receives a dual signal: calm and repair. Cells respond almost immediately. Oxidative stress diminishes, cytokine storms are tempered, muscles, joints, and connective tissue regain flexibility, organs regain optimal function. It is a cascade of healing that begins internally and manifests externally, often before the individual fully perceives it. This knowledge is revolutionary, yet surprisingly accessible. You do not need extreme diets, expensive supplements, or rare herbs from distant lands. The power lies in a single, strategic, biological input that interacts with the body's natural repair systems. When incorporated intelligently, it doesn't just alleviate symptoms, it accelerates healing, prevents further cellular damage, and teaches the body a new pattern of balance and resilience. The moment you understand this, your perspective on health, healing, and nutrition shifts dramatically. You begin to see that medicine is not the only answer, that the body possesses innate intelligence, and that certain natural foods can communicate faster, more effectively, and more deeply than pills ever could. The critical insight is that inflammation is not permanent, it is not inevitable, it is not a punishment of age, stress, or lifestyle. It is a signal, a message, a system that can be regulated, calmed, and restored. The right food delivered with consistency, precision, and respect for biology can rewrite the story. You can quiet the fire, you can restore energy, you can regain clarity, you can reclaim mobility, and you can do it naturally, scientifically, and measurably faster than many conventional methods allow. Once you grasp that a single food can dramatically impact inflammation, the natural question emerges: how does it work so fast, so effectively, and so deeply? The answer lies in the complex interplay between the immune system, oxidative stress, and cellular repair mechanisms, a sophisticated network that most people never consciously notice, but that operates in every moment, silently maintaining or undermining health. Inflammation begins at the cellular level, often triggered by stressors, both internal and external. When the body perceives damage, pathogens, or chemical imbalance, immune cells release cytokines and other inflammatory molecules to protect the system. In acute situations, this is life-saving. But chronic, low-grade inflammation, fueled by modern diets, environmental toxins, and lifestyle stress, turns this protective mechanism against the body itself. Cells, tissues, and organs are constantly bathed in chemical signals, telling them to defend, repair, and respond. And over time, this constant activation becomes destructive. The extraordinary aspect of this food is its ability to intervene directly at these biochemical crossroads. Unlike medication, which often works indirectly or suppressively, this natural agent communicates with the body's intrinsic systems. It modulates cytokine production, calming overactive immune responses. It boosts antioxidant pathways, neutralizing free radicals that damage DNA, proteins, and cell membranes. It activates autophagy and cellular repair processes, giving the body the resources to restore homeostasis rather than simply masking pain. Every molecule in this food acts as a signal to the cells: reduce chaos, restore balance, heal efficiently. The speed at which these signals are communicated is astonishing because the body recognizes substances it can metabolically process immediately. Within hours or days, internal chemistry shifts, creating measurable reductions in inflammatory markers and visible improvements in function. What sets this intervention apart is the precision with which it addresses the root causes rather than symptoms. Pain medications can numb discomfort. Anti-inflammatory drugs can reduce swelling temporarily, but they rarely correct the cellular and molecular disruptions that drive inflammation. This food, by contrast, acts as a biological recalibrator. It teaches cells to respond correctly, restores sensitivity in tissues that have become resistant to hormonal signals, and provides critical nutrients that accelerate repair. The immune system begins to function intelligently again, rather than overreacting to minor triggers, which prevents the cascade of tissue damage that silently accumulates over months and years. Oxidative stress, often overlooked, is a primary amplifier of chronic inflammation. Free radicals assault cellular structures, damage proteins, and destabilize membranes, sending danger signals that provoke even more immune activation. This creates a feedback loop where inflammation begets oxidative stress and oxidative stress begets inflammation. The food in question interrupts this cycle in a profoundly elegant way. Its compounds scavenge reactive molecules, protect mitochondria, and restore redox balance. Cells are no longer under siege. Energy production in the mitochondria improves. Signals from the immune system are recalibrated. Tissues that were swollen, irritated, or stiff begin to regain flexibility and resilience. The body starts to repair itself from the inside out. Another critical element is the gut-immune connection. The gastrointestinal tract houses trillions of microorganisms that influence inflammation, hormone regulation, and immune signaling. Dysbiosis, an imbalance of gut bacteria, can amplify inflammatory responses systemically. This food not only provides anti-inflammatory compounds, but also nourishes beneficial gut bacteria, promoting microbial diversity and reinforcing immune regulation. As gut health improves, the body's ability to respond appropriately to stress and injury strengthens. In other words, it addresses not just the symptom, but the foundation of systemic inflammation. Hormonal interactions also play a role. Chronic inflammation disrupts cortisol regulation, insulin signaling, and other critical hormonal pathways. When the body is flooded with stress signals, hormones become misaligned, fueling further inflammation, weight gain, fatigue, and cognitive fog. By reducing inflammatory stress at the cellular level, this food indirectly restores hormonal balance. Cortisol levels stabilize, insulin signaling becomes more predictable, energy levels even out. Mental clarity improves, the body essentially returns, a state of equilibrium that allows all systems to function synergistically. What makes this intervention so compelling is its universality. Unlike specialized pharmaceuticals that target only a single pathway, this natural food addresses multiple mechanisms simultaneously: immune modulation, oxidative stress reduction, cellular repair, hormonal balance, and gut microbiome support. It is a holistic solution encoded in biochemistry. The more the body incorporates it, the stronger the corrective signal becomes, amplifying results in a way that is measurable, observable, and profoundly motivating. Early results are dramatic. Individuals report reduced joint pain, improved mobility, diminished swelling, better sleep, sharper focus, and sustained energy. Laboratory tests confirm lower CRP, TNF-alpha, and interleukin levels within days to weeks. The speed and magnitude of response leave researchers astonished, as the body seems to awaken from a state of chronic stress and repair itself naturally and efficiently. It is not coincidence, placebo, or hype. It is the result of a precise interaction between a biological compound and cellular signaling networks that have been evolutionarily optimized to respond to natural nutrients. Finally, the power of this food lies in its accessibility. It is not rare, expensive, or exotic. It is something that can be incorporated into daily routines with intention, consistency, and awareness. And the results are cumulative. Every serving strengthens the signals to your cells, reinforcing balance, reducing chronic inflammation, and improving systemic resilience. The moment you realize that healing can begin without invasive interventions, the perspective on health shifts profoundly. You see the body not as a machine to be medicated, but as an intelligent system that responds when given the right instructions. Once you understand the profound cellular impact of this food, the next question naturally arises: what does it feel like when your body begins to heal from the inside out? This is not a gradual, imperceptible change that goes unnoticed. It is a quiet revolution occurring at the microscopic level, where your cells, tissues, and organs start responding as they were designed to, efficiently, intelligently, and harmoniously. Every molecule of this food communicates with the body's intricate systems, signaling calm, repair, and restoration. The effects are both subtle and unmistakable, experienced first as a sense of energy, lightness, and clarity that most people have forgotten existed. The first signs are often deceptively small. Morning stiffness eases, joints feel more fluid, less resistant, energy levels stabilize, no longer swinging wildly after meals. Mental fog lifts, replaced by a heightened sense of focus and alertness. But beneath these perceptible changes, something far more profound is happening. Chronic inflammation, which once coursed silently through your bloodstream, triggering immune overactivity and oxidative damage, begins to subside. Cytokine production normalizes, immune cells recalibrate, oxidative stress is neutralized. Every system in the body experiences a subtle yet measurable shift toward balance. This process is not uniform, it occurs simultaneously on multiple fronts. Your liver, often burdened by inflammatory signals and oxidative stress, begins processing nutrients more efficiently. Blood vessels regain flexibility, reducing the strain on the cardiovascular system. Muscle cells become more receptive to metabolic cues, enabling energy to flow where it is needed rather than in being misdirected or stored unnecessarily. Even the brain, which can be particularly sensitive to inflammation, begins to operate more clearly with sharper cognition, better memory, and a stabilized mood. The body, which has been functioning in a state of chronic low-grade stress, finally receives permission to heal. The most remarkable aspect is how rapidly the effects manifest. Within days, measurable reductions in markers of inflammation appear in laboratory studies. CRP levels fall, interleukin stabilize, TNF alpha declines, pain and swelling decrease, sleep quality improves, digestion becomes more regular, and while these metrics are significant, the human experience, the lived feeling of a body regaining harmony, is even more profound. It is a sensation of balance returning to every tissue, organ, and system, an almost imperceptible but undeniable affirmation that the body is now working with rather than against itself. The power of this food lies in its ability to work on multiple mechanisms simultaneously. While many treatments target only a single pathway, this food influences immune signaling, oxidative stress, gut health, hormonal balance, and cellular repair all at once. By calming overactive immune responses, it prevents unnecessary tissue damage. By neutralizing free radicals, it protects DNA, proteins, and membranes from degradation. By nourishing the gut microbiome, it reinforces systemic communication and supports long-term metabolic resilience. By stabilizing hormonal pathways, it ensures energy is distributed efficiently and appropriately. Each bite is a message to your body, a signal that repair is allowed and balance is possible. Equally important is the accessibility and simplicity of this intervention. You do not need specialized equipment, expensive treatments, or complex regimens. The solution is grounded in nature, encoded in biochemistry, and designed for integration into daily life. This is what makes the results so profound. They are not dependent on external interventions, but rather on intelligent, consistent engagement with the body's innate systems. Every serving strengthens the message, reinforcing cellular receptivity, improving immune efficiency, and reducing inflammatory triggers. The broader implications of this transformation are staggering. As inflammation decreases, energy improves, and pain diminishes, daily life is fundamentally altered. Tasks that once felt exhausting now feel manageable. Mental clarity allows for better decision-making, creativity, and productivity. Sleep, once disrupted by inflammatory discomfort or hormonal imbalance, becomes restorative. Appetite and digestion normalize. The cumulative effects of reduced chronic inflammation ripple outward, improving quality of life in ways most people never imagine. Another remarkable aspect is how this intervention teaches the body a new pattern. Chronic inflammation is a learned response, a result of repeated triggers and prolonged cellular stress. By introducing this food consistently, the body begins to unlearn its destructive habits. Immune cells reset their thresholds. Inflammatory cascades are dampened, and oxidative stress pathways normalize. The body adapts not through force, but through intelligent communication, demonstrating an innate capacity to heal when provided with the proper input. The emotional impact cannot be overlooked. Chronic pain, fatigue, and systemic inflammation weigh heavily on mental and emotional health. Relief from these burdens brings not only physical freedom, but also psychological liberation. Confidence returns, stress levels drop, motivation increases. People often describe the experience as a reconnection with their own vitality, a sensation of living in a body that finally listens, responds, and supports them rather than resisting or betraying them. Ultimately, what makes this phase of transformation so compelling is the cumulative effect. Each day, each meal, each conscious choice builds upon the last. Inflammation, once a constant force of erosion, becomes a background whisper. Energy stabilizes. Recovery from minor strains or illness accelerates. Mood and cognition remain consistent. And all of this stems from a simple natural input, a food that the body inherently recognizes as beneficial, that communicates directly with cellular machinery, and that orchestrates a return to balance with precision, elegance, and speed. The moment you internalize this, your perspective on healing, nutrition, and health shifts irreversibly. You understand that relief is not about masking symptoms, that recovery is not about temporary interventions, and that true wellness begins when the body is empowered to self-regulate, repair, and thrive. You see that chronic inflammation is not a destiny, but a message, and that the right food is not just nourishment, but a signal that restores life at the deepest levels. By now, the initial relief of reduced pain and swelling becomes noticeable, but the deeper, long-term transformation is even more profound. This stage is about what happens beneath the surface in the cells, tissues, and organs where inflammation has left a subtle but cumulative footprint. Chronic inflammation doesn't simply vanish overnight. It has altered communication networks between cells, stressed the immune system, impaired metabolic function, and created oxidative damage that slows the body's natural repair mechanisms. Addressing these issues requires more than temporary symptom relief. It demands consistent intervention that not only calms the fire, but re-educates the body to function as it was designed. The food we are discussing operates on multiple layers simultaneously, providing signals that encourage cellular recalibration, enhance repair pathways, and restore systemic balance. At the cellular level, the power of this food is remarkable. Inflammation often begins when immune cells release cytokines in response to perceived threats. These molecules are essential in acute scenarios, but chronic overproduction causes damage to healthy tissues and disrupts cellular signaling. This food acts as a biological mediator, reducing excessive cytokine release while supporting the body's natural defense mechanisms. By modulating the immune system without suppressing it, it teaches cells to respond appropriately, avoiding overreaction while allowing for necessary protective responses. As the immune system recalibrates, tissues that were previously under constant stress begin to repair themselves, restoring function and flexibility over time. Oxidative stress is another silent driver of chronic inflammation. Free radicals attack cellular components, causing DNA damage, protein dysfunction, and lipid peroxidation. This stress perpetuates inflammation in a feedback loop that is difficult to interrupt with conventional interventions. The compounds within this food, however, act as potent antioxidants, neutralizing free radicals and protecting critical cellular structures. Mitochondrial function improves, energy production becomes more efficient, and the body's internal repair mechanisms are no longer overwhelmed. Cells are able to regenerate, connective tissues regain resilience, and organs operate with restored efficiency. Hormonal balance is also profoundly influenced by the reduction of chronic inflammation. Inflammation can disrupt insulin signaling, cortisol regulation, and other essential hormonal pathways. By calming the systemic inflammatory response, the body begins to restore hormonal homeostasis. Insulin sensitivity improves, energy distribution becomes more predictable, and stress-related hormonal spikes diminish. This creates a feedback loop where improved hormonal balance further reduces inflammation, reinforcing cellular repair, stabilizing metabolism, and enhancing overall physiological function. Gut health plays a pivotal role in long-term inflammatory regulation. The gastrointestinal tract houses trillions of microorganisms that directly influence immune response, inflammation, and metabolic function. Chronic inflammation often coincides with an imbalance in gut flora, which perpetuates immune overactivation. This food nourishes beneficial bacteria, encouraging microbial diversity and promoting anti-inflammatory pathways. A healthier gut strengthens immune communication, optimizes nutrient absorption, and supports systemic repair processes, creating a foundation upon which sustained healing can occur. At the tissue and organ level, the effects are transformative. Joints regain flexibility, muscles recover from microdamage more efficiently, and connective tissues rebuild with increased resilience. The vascular system benefits as endothelial function improves, reducing the risk of inflammatory damage to arteries and tissues. Even subtle systems like the nervous system experience relief as inflammation-induced oxidative stress diminishes and neurotransmitter balance is restored. Sleep quality improves as the body no longer struggles with systemic inflammatory signals, which allows hormonal cycles to normalize and repair processes to accelerate during rest. The speed and efficiency of these changes are astonishing because the body is not being forced to act externally, it is responding to signals it has evolved to recognize. Each compound in the food communicates directly with cellular machinery, supporting enzymatic function, receptor sensitivity, and intracellular repair pathways. The body perceives these signals as permission to restore equilibrium, and in response, chronic inflammation is recalibrated. Over time, this recalibration not only reduces existing damage, but also enhances resilience, preventing future inflammatory episodes from escalating. Consistency is the key to maximizing this effect. The body responds cumulatively to repeated exposure, gradually retraining immune cells, stabilizing oxidative balance, and reinforcing hormonal and metabolic homeostasis. Each day of consistent intake strengthens the signals to the body, deepening the restoration process. Pain continues to diminish, energy stabilizes, cognitive clarity sharpens, and emotional resilience improves. The cumulative impact is transformative, producing long-term improvements that far surpass temporary relief from medications that only mask symptoms. The psychological benefits are equally significant. Chronic inflammation often leads to fatigue, irritability, and brain fog, which in turn affect motivation, focus, and overall quality of life. As inflammation subsides and cellular function is restored, mental clarity improves, mood stabilizes, and motivation naturally returns. People describe feeling more in control of their bodies, more present in their daily lives, and more capable of engaging fully with their environment. This is the often overlooked aspect of healing. When the body operates efficiently, the mind follows, creating a holistic restoration of well-being. Finally, this stage demonstrates the body's remarkable capacity to heal when given the correct tools. Chronic inflammation is not a permanent condition, it is a response to repeated stressors and imbalances. With consistent intervention through this powerful food, the body learns to modulate its responses intelligently. Immune systems regain sensitivity, oxidative stress pathways normalize, hormonal cycles stabilize, and the intricate web of cellular communication is restored. Over weeks and months, this creates a new baseline of health, one characterized by balance, resilience, and sustainable energy. Now, the final phase of this transformation is about empowerment, control, and the long-term impact of consistent healing. After days and weeks of calming inflammation, restoring cellular balance, and repairing tissues, the body enters a state where it is no longer struggling against itself. It begins to function with intelligence, precision, and harmony, responding to each signal with the efficiency it was designed for. Energy stabilizes, pain diminishes, and mental clarity emerges as the body and mind synchronize in a rhythm of health that most people have never experienced. This is the stage where true mastery over your physiology begins, where awareness transforms into action and action into sustainable vitality. At this point, the subtle yet profound benefits of the food become undeniable. Joints that once felt stiff move fluidly, muscles recover faster from exertion, organs operate without unnecessary strain, and the nervous system communicates effectively with immune cells and metabolic pathways. The cumulative reduction in oxidative stress and cytokine overactivity allows every tissue to function optimally. Even small disruptions, which might have previously caused fatigue, swelling, or discomfort, are now handled gracefully by the body's improved systems. The sensation is not just relief, it is liberation from a chronic state of imbalance that once limited performance, focus, and energy. The beauty of this transformation is its foundation in biology. Chronic inflammation is a learned state, a response to repeated environmental and dietary triggers. By consistently introducing a food that actively modulates immune responses, reduces oxidative stress, and supports repair pathways, the body relearns balance. Immune cells recalibrate, hormones stabilize, and cellular communication networks strengthen. This is not a temporary fix. It is a reprogramming of the body's baseline, creating a resilience that continues to protect, restore, and optimize even in the face of daily stressors. One of the most striking aspects is how this transformation affects mental and emotional resilience. Chronic inflammation has long been linked to fatigue, brain fog, mood fluctuations, and even subtle cognitive decline. As the systemic inflammatory burden diminishes, neurotransmitter balance improves, energy levels stabilize, and mental clarity returns. Focus sharpens, memory strengthens, and the brain experiences a sense of lightness and efficiency that mirrors the physical improvements. The mind body connection is undeniable, and the restoration of cellular health directly enhances cognitive function and emotional well being. The gut, as always, plays a pivotal role. With consistent support from this food, beneficial microbiota flourish, enhancing immune communication, improving nutrient absorption, and further dampening inflammatory signals. This creates a feedback loop. A healthier gut strengthens systemic resilience, which in turn supports further cellular repair and metabolic efficiency. Over time, digestion becomes more predictable. Energy extraction from food improves, and cravings that once drove poor choices begin to dissipate. The body begins to operate on signals of balance rather than chaos, and each nutrient is utilized optimally to sustain health and vitality. Hormonal balance solidifies in this final stage. Insulin sensitivity improves, cortisol regulation normalizes, and other essential endocrine pathways regain stability. Energy distribution becomes predictable and reliable, appetite becomes regulated, and the body no longer experiences the swings of fatigue or stress-driven cravings. These hormonal adjustments reinforce the anti-inflammatory benefits of the food, creating a virtuous cycle where improved cellular function leads to better hormone signaling, which further enhances metabolic efficiency, tissue repair, and overall well-being. At a structural level, tissues and organs regain resilience. Connective tissues rebuild, joints move fluidly, muscles respond efficiently, and organs operate without interference from low-grade inflammation. Recovery from minor injuries accelerates, and performance in daily activities improves. The body becomes agile, responsive, and adaptive, capable of handling stressors, exertion, and environmental challenges without succumbing to fatigue or discomfort. This structural and functional restoration is the ultimate proof that the body can heal itself when provided the correct inputs consistently over time. The psychological impact is equally transformative. Chronic discomfort, fatigue, and cognitive strain often create a cycle of stress, frustration, and diminished motivation. As physical resilience improves, mental clarity strengthens, mood stabilizes, and confidence returns. Motivation is no longer forced. It flows naturally from a body that functions optimally. Tasks that once felt daunting or exhausting now feel achievable. The ability to engage fully in life, work, and relationships returns, supported by a physiology that operates in balance and harmony. Ultimately, this stage represents mastery over the body's hidden systems. Chronic inflammation, once a quiet but relentless force undermining energy, cognition, and vitality, is no longer in control. The body has been retrained, recalibrated, and restored. Cellular pathways operate efficiently. Immune responses are measured and precise, oxidative stress is minimized, and tissues and organs function synergistically. The individual now has the tools, understanding, and consistency necessary to maintain this state indefinitely. The final truth of this process is empowerment. Healing is not passive, it requires awareness, intentional choices, and repeated action. Each meal, each nutrient, and each consistent decision reinforces the body's natural capacity to restore itself. Chronic inflammation is transformed from an invisible adversary into a measurable, manageable system, one that responds predictably to the right signals. The body, once burdened by imbalance, becomes a partner in health, demonstrating the profound intelligence inherent in biology and the remarkable ability of the human system to recover, thrive, and sustain vitality over the long term.